In recent years, global motorcycle manufacturers seem to have switched their focus from big number BHP bikes to smaller, lighter and more accessible machines. Given that, it's really no surprise to see the lightweight motorcycle market turning into one of the most hotly contested in 2020 and 2021. Two bikes that seem like natural competitors in this segment are the Aprilia Tuono 660 and the Triumph Trident 660. Displacement aside, the two bikes both attack the A2 market in very different ways, with the Aprilia seemingly focusing on top-spec electronics and sporty dynamics, while the Triumph relies more on stylish design, easygoing handling and that silky smooth inline 3-cylinder engine. Before we get into this video though, if you're a fan of Visordown's motorcycle videos and reviews, please drop a like and hit the notification bell so that you can stay up to date with all of our latest videos. For all the latest news, reviews and motorcycle features, head over to visordown.com. In an attempt to get newer riders and those on an A2 licence onto the Tuono 660, Aprilia took its class-leading Tuono 1100 and RS V4 1100 V4, lopped off the rear bank of cylinders and capped the output at 95 bhp. In reality, the engine punches well above its weight, even sounding a bit like a V4 thanks to its cross-plane design of the crank. Sticking to what they know, Triumph slotted an updated version of its inline 3-cylinder engine in the Trident 660. Heritage aside, it's a slick move, and it gives the Trident an air of multi-cylinder class in a market that is seemingly dominated by parallel twin-cylinder power plants. With a claimed 80 bhp on tap, the Trident is slightly down on the Tuono on this front, although you'll barely notice on the road. Its juicy spread of torque in the low and the mid-range makes for an exciting and enthralling ride, with a nice little rush to the red line to boot. If you're looking for a classy motor, the triple-equipped Triumph is an absolute joy to ride. It's got all the character of the bigger triples in the range, is easier to live with, and is backed up by that lovely exhaust note. The Tuono may be the more potent power plant of the two, and on road and track it's probably able to propel the rider at the horizon a little bit more quickly. But in this sector where newer riders are firmly in the crosshairs, it's not quite so much of a forgiving and user-friendly unit as the Triumph. One area where the Tuono 660 is streets ahead of pretty much every bike in this segment is in the electronics department. It features some, but not all, of the electronics from its sibling, the RS 660, and includes wheelie control, traction control, cruise control and engine braking control. If you opt for the optional IMU, you'll also get cornering ABS and lean sensitive traction control. Then you really do have one of the most advanced bikes in this sector. The Triumph, on the other hand, features a 2-channel ABS setup, 2 riding modes and switchable ABS. All the systems work perfectly, but when the bigger bikes in the range get all the toys, you kind of want a little taster of that in the small bikes of the family too. With its DNA so closely related to the sporty RS 660, the little Tuono is more dynamic in the handling department. It's got KYB suspension and it's tuned for performance. The Tuono has a level of poise and balance that's hard to beat in the segment. It's light, supremely flickable and thrives on the edge of the tyre. The Triumph, on the other hand, is a more accessible and easier going package. It still feels light and extremely responsive, it's just not quite as focused and sports orientated as the Tuono. The ride quality is excellent, and on the launch in Tenerife it excelled on the twisting mountain roads. Its Showa suspension may not feature the adjustability of the Aprilia, but for the majority of riders it will prove more than capable in allowing them to explore the limits of the machine. Displacement aside, it's clear that both manufacturers have gone about making a dent in this market in totally different ways, and there is one area where the bikes are further apart than any other: the price. The Tuono 660 comes in at a shade under £10,000, while the Trident is priced at an MT-07 rivalling £7,195. That's nearly £3,000 for the new rider to spend on some kit, clothing, extra training or even their insurance bill. The Aprilia may be the better machine if you're looking at these two bikes from the viewpoint of an existing rider. But as they are both in the market of hooking in new riders or those moving up from smaller capacity machines, the added value for money offered by the Triumph, not to mention its more easygoing character, really do make it hard to argue against. So there you have it, that's our verdict. But what bikes would you like us to compare? Let us know in the comments below and we'll see what we can do.